Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Through the Curtain. This is a Talking Talent episode. I am your host, Tommy T. I'm joined by Double K, and as always, behind the scenes, Smokey Z. Tonight we're going to be reviewing our show that we attended from this past Saturday. We did an on-location episode with those folks, and this is going to be VCW's show out of Hampton High School in Hampton, Virginia. So, this show had a stacked card that was filled with a lot of great talent that included guest appearances by both the franchise Shane Douglas and the Vampire Warrior Gangrel. So, folks, we had 6 different matches on this card, and each of these brought something different to the table. So I'll go ahead and get us started with the first match of the night was Urban Legend versus Mad Max Morrison. Now, Mad Max was a performer that I had not seen before. We have seen Urban Legend in the previous VCW show that we went to back in February. But both of these guys put on a decent show. It was a good match to start the night out on. Didn't last as long as I thought it would have.
Right.
But it wasn't bad. It was a fairly decent match. The two competitors were pretty even for most of the match. I don't think there was any spots where one of them was tremendously more over than the other. So, I mean, I don't have a whole lot to share on this match, but I would say that I would go ahead and give them a 3-star rating, again, with 5-star being that instant classic.
Sure. Like you said, neither one of us had seen Mad Max Morrison before the other night, but we had seen Urban Legend have a great match against Phil Brown about a month ago.
Yeah. That was when we were down in Norfolk.
Absolutely. What I did notice that I will speak on, I don't have a ton to say, because neither one seemed to outshine the other.
Okay.
But what the match itself did do, that was a pretty big crowd in the gymnasium the other night.
Oh, absolutely. Both sides of the gym, the high school gym, the bleachers were packed.
Sure. And I think to the point we were making about neither performer being more over than the other is fans were still piling in during that match.
Yeah, they really hadn't all gotten seated at that point.
So the fact that during the match everybody is still piling in and they're opening up in a completely different set of bleachers for the packed house, I think took away from a little bit of what wasn't actually a good match, an exciting match. But like you, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3-star rating.
Yeah, I mean, it's middle of the road. Again, I thought it was a great match for us to start the night out on. I don't think it was anything that was, super spectacular, but it was a great opening match to the night. Urban Legend delivered on the same performance we saw from him coming out of the first VCW show that we saw him in. And, Mad Max definitely left me with the impression that he has a lot to offer.
Yeah, I liked what I saw from the character. We do talk a lot about characters and where they are and what they're doing and what kind of development's been there, but I liked what I saw.
Sure. So that was the first match. You want to go ahead and take the lead on the second one?
Absolutely. We had Simply Safe-ish, Wes Rogers and Livid the Clown, going head-to-head with the Sanctuary, sans Timmy Danger.
Correct.
They were absent of their leader.
They were, but they still, provided the trust in the Sanctuary.
Sure.
It was a great tag team match. It really was. I don't think that we've seen really one bad tag team match that Simply Safe-ish has been part of.
No.
Again, hats off to Livid the Clown. The guy continues to own his gimmick, his role, his character, and everything about what he does is about the fans. We got the opportunity to sit and talk with him. And folks, his episode for the Livid the Clown interview, which is an episode that you do not want to miss. We started with a script, and you'll be able to see where that went.
About 2 minutes in, it went straight through the roof.
Yeah, so it was an outstanding interview to have. We were very grateful that he took the time to come meet with us before this show for us to tape that episode. So, folks, that episode will launch on March 23rd, so about a week and a half. from now, and we look forward to what folks have to say about listening into that. But with that particular group, of course, the Simply Safe-ish gimmick, the pairing of Will Rogers and Livid the Clown, Wes Rogers, sorry, that pairing just works so well
it does.
for their gimmick. And the Sanctuary, following in the stance of Timmy Danger, even though he was absent, still delivered a good performance. It was a great second match, a lot of tag team action, a couple of tag team spots that we saw, which we don't always see in a lot of these indie events. It's a lot of singles activity within the tag match, but this one had some tag team moments that were outstanding. Now, the nice part about the Sanctuary group was, not only do they still carry that Sanctuary brand into the match, but you still saw some of the essence of Timmy Danger in the way those guys perform.
I never thought I'd hear you say that as a good thing, but but yeah, you're right. I agree with you. I agree. You did his mark. I'm not going to say his essence. I just can't do that. But his mark on the Sanctuary was definitely there, and you could see all the work that those guys have put in as a faction together.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, that match, just the same as the first match, I'm going to give it 3 stars, and that's where I am.
The one thing I'm going to talk about it right now that we haven't covered is the build. All right, if you remember, there was something missing before that match that Livid the Clown just couldn't find.
That's true. He actually talked to us about it.
He did. He asked us if we'd seen Milkshake, if we had seen his...
There were signs up around the arena
looking for his invisible dog,
Milkshake.
Right. So Livid T-Clown, as we learned, the T stands for the.
Yes.
For those of you listening out there that do not know what the T in Livid T-Clown stood for. Yeah, he was tearing the place apart looking for Milkshake, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tearing it apart, looking at where signs were everywhere. We had a sign on our table.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the match, we found him.
Well, we thought we found him when they introduced the pet carrier that was teased to have contained Milkshake.
Yeah. Sharky had the dog carrier.
Yeah, he did. Lo and behold, after the end of the match, there was nothing in the dog carrier.
Right.
I'm not sure how you would know to begin with because it contained an invisible pet.
Well, I guess the container, the dog carrier, was moving and shaking.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Invisible or not, it would have had a dog in it.
Fair enough.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm with you. Sorry.
In the true spirit of Livid T-Clown here.
I didn't mean to question it.
Okay.
So
All right.
We'll get past that now.
I just wanted to get that straight. So that being a key factor in the way this match went with the Sanctuary winning this match, I'm going to give it a 3-star match, same as the first, just like you. It was extremely entertaining, and again, I'll follow up. Simply Safe-ish just really doesn't have bad matches, I don't think.
No, we haven't really seen anything, at least in the times that I've seen them, whether it be in VCW or CPW. I still haven't seen a match that they've had that didn't entertain me.
Right.
So, all right. So, we're going to move on to the next match now. And this one I'm going to take a little bit of time to talk about for several different reasons.
Okay.
Folks, the third match of the evening was the Mid-Atlantic Badass Damien Wayne versus Phil Brown for the VCW Liberty United States Championship. So the build to this was Phil Brown, a graduate of Hampton High School where this event took place, and Damien Wayne was a graduate of their rival high school. Kecoughtan, yeah. So you actually fully anticipated Damien Wayne to get the boos when he came through the curtain. That didn't happen. I was actually surprised. The crowd cheered Damien Wayne as he came through the curtain.
Yeah.
And no pun intended in reference to the show. But as he came through, and the crowd went nuts. So this guy's got a following, even in his rival territory, where you would have thought Phil Brown would have been, without question, the face in that particular match.
It just speaks volumes to what Damien Wayne's built throughout the years.
Absolutely. We got a chance also to sit down with Damien. We taped an interview with him. And that interview, folks, will air tomorrow, Saturday morning on this coming week. And that will be the interview that is probably the most profound interview without any question. His ability to talk through his career, he even shared some moments with us that he had said he had never spoken to anyone about before.
Yeah.
And folks, I mean, even if you've never listened to any of our interviews, that's an episode you do not want to miss. And I don't want you to listen to it for the sake of Double K and myself or Through the Curtain at all. I want you to listen to it for an opportunity to hear from Damien Wayne, the man. So that was just a rare opportunity for us. I was very grateful for him to take the time to sit down with us and open up to us the way that he did.
Yeah.
So, but now back to the match. This guy just, we've talked about Ethan Cross being ageless. Damien Wayne looks as good as he's ever looked. Going back and looking at some of his videos from his earlier days, he still looks outstanding. I mean, this is a guy that was in contention for the NWA heavyweight title. And, now we've got him wrestling at VCW shows locally and still puts on an outstanding match. Phil Brown, his opponent, nothing to be taken away from him. That guy, especially for his size, can move. He's got the talent and the ability to work with anybody.
Sure.
And I would say that for either of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it before the show ever started. This match was a case of teacher versus student.
Yeah, absolutely.
Phil Brown being the teacher, Damien Wayne being the student. And in any event, any arena, anytime you have that dynamic, you're in for something special.
Yeah.
We knew we were in for something special. Like you said, we had the opportunity to talk to Damien before the show ever started. And so we were already on edge waiting for that match. And I think I may have even said on air that night that this was going to be a smash mouth match.
Yeah.
And it was nothing short of that. It was every bit of a smash mouth match. They felt each other out in the beginning. There were a couple hugs in the beginning. And then when the match ended, great show of respect.
And sportsmanship between those two guys.
Absolutely. So, I mean, that was really great to see. But it was also great to see everything in the middle of the hugs. They held absolutely nothing back from each other. They went at it like they didn't know each other. They went at it like they hated each other. I thought it was just a phenomenal match. And again, my fan side, as well as anybody, I'm a huge Damien Wayne fan since we saw him in Norfolk.
Yeah.
So when the music hits, man, I'm ready to get in the ring and fight somebody.
You even got the T-shirt.
I even went and bought the T-shirt. I don't buy many T-shirts at these things, but I wanted that T-shirt.
Yeah. So, Phil Brown walked away with the victory in that match. He retained his title. But there should be no doubt that Damien Wayne is a contender for any title that he decides to make himself a contender for.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. And I think here toward the end of this show tonight, we're going to talk just a little bit more.
Yes.
About Mr. Damien Wayne.
Yeah. So, now Phil Brown, again, we've spent a little bit of time talking about him. His ability to move at his size. There were some other folks on this card that we've said the same thing about. Mm-hmm. In fact, they were in the match that followed this. But Phil Brown is a guy that, I'm not sure that his BMI is even registering for how, athletic and chiseled that guy is. Right. I mean, his chest is as wide as the front of my car.
And he's a big man. To be saying these things about him, he's a big guy, and typically those things do not go hand in hand.
No, I mean, usually you don't get, you think of some of the larger athletes, you get the stature, but you don't always get the frame that goes with it.
Right.
You tend to see just wide bodies. He does not have the wide bodies. The guy's a chiseled physique.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big athletic physique that looks like he could take your head off at the drop of a hat.
Yes. We made the joke of the last time we saw him in Norfolk that when he came out with, he was wrestling Urban Legend that night, that the question was, who let Bobby Lashley and Leo Rush in the ring?
Right.
So, guys, that's a fair comparison between Phil Brown and a lot of other guys on the roster. With Phil Brown being the size that he is. Great match from both of those guys. They perform well. They sell well. You can tell that neither of them are rookies. They've clearly been doing this for a while. With, again, Phil Brown being the teacher for Damien Wayne. And we learned a little bit about that relationship in our interview with Damien. So, again, folks, tune in for that. But I was just super excited to see those guys performed. They deliver on every aspect that I expected them to deliver on.
Absolutely.
And so, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I want to give one huge ringing endorsement. Like, for both of these guys, I would pay my money to see these guys perform anywhere.
Absolutely.
So if there's anybody out there listening that hasn't seen these guys perform, find your $20, $25, whatever it is, and get there and see it because you're missing out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these guys can put on a show. They know what they're doing and they know how to do it. So for me, and folks, this does not happen very often on these ratings. The Damien Wayne Phil Brown match for the VCW United States Championship for me was a 4.5-star match.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I've got the same thing written down on my sheet. I mean, it's 4.5 all the way. And borderline could have been 5. Had a couple small, minute details been
Sure. There. Yeah. So, outstanding job to both of those guys. Thank you for what you do for your fans. It was appreciated, and what you delivered that night was something that should be work that you're both proud of and should walk away with your heads held high in your ability to carry that out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our fourth match. The Golden Pinky Society was in tag team action versus the Hellcats.
So you had mentioned in our last review of a VCW show that you wanted the opportunity to see the Hellcats wrestle without the Simply Safe-ish gimmick.
Right, in a non-gimmick match.
Right. So what'd you think?
Yeah, I liked the match itself. I liked the wrestling. I was enjoying what I was seeing. So I was getting what I didn't get to see in Norfolk.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I think I'm still not 100% sure what the character part is going for. We talked a lot about that.
Yeah.
But the actual in-ring ability, I was good with. But here again, it was a Hellcat match that got the plug pulled on it.
Yeah.
Too soon, and kind of just, for me, out of nowhere. It was a really good match that I felt like got a little muddy at the ending.
Yeah, so it felt like the fans are sold a little short with the ending of that match.
Sure.
But I don't want anything to be taken away from this that doesn't give either of these teams credit.
Oh, no.
For what they do. The Hellcats are talented. I don't think there's any question about that now. Their ability to get in the ring. Folks, the Golden Pinky Society is a group that they're not small guys either. They're bigger guys.
I was really impressed with those guys and the way they were moving.
Yeah, I mean, they moved around like they were 150-pound cruiserweights.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys were flying around. They were just the moves, the some of the springboard action that we saw off the ropes. I mean, just different things that they were doing that made you, almost fall in love with it all over again because it's like, God, these guys can move.
Right.
And that's not something we get the ability to see a lot of anymore. And I think some of that comes with just stereotyping. We don't give people credit for it. But these guys defy that. And I would be willing to bet you that anything that you told them they couldn't do, they would make it a point to prove you wrong.
Well, what it did prove, seeing those big guys in the ring moving that way, performing the moves that they were doing, having the stamina and the endurance that they have, what it did prove is that not all athletes in the ring look like Ricochet.
That's true. That's true.
I mean,
that's absolutely true.
Those guys are athletes. I was extremely impressed with the Golden Pinky Society that night.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, I mean, I'm not trying to take anything away from what went on at the event. I just felt like that was a phenomenal match to have to end the way that it did.
Yeah, so, of course, VCW, always puts on a good show, and I was disappointed in the ending. It was for the VCW Tag Team Championships, which the Hellcats currently have. I also like the fact that the Hellcats have customized their championship titles. Even though it was, it looked like it was probably just with, some tape, some electrical tape or whatever it was they used. But it's nice to see that you've got folks even at their level that are doing that. And they've had the titles long enough to be able to do it.
Well, it's called owning your gimmick.
That's absolutely correct.
It's owning your gimmick. It's believing in what you do. That's owning the performance. That's owning the gimmick. It's owning the crowd when you're out there. So, like I said, I liked what I saw this past Saturday night.
Yeah, there is, without question, when either of those two teams are in the ring, there is clearly passion for what they do.
No doubt. No doubt.
So I'm going to give that match a rating. And I'm not going to really let the ending reflect my rating. I'm going to say that the match overall was a 3-star match. Mm-hmm. That's where I am with it. And that's, because here's the thing that I try to remember with this is that a lot of the times the ending is part of booking. It's not part of the performers.
Right. It's not on them for the most part.
Right. It's the way that the program is booked, which, don't get me wrong, the storyline building for VCW or any promotion, this is part of what they do. It's the reality of the business. And I say that not, as a professional in the business, I say it as a fan that, we see it. We see it at every level of the business.
Sure. I mean, it's a slow build storytelling business.
Yep, absolutely. So, again, for me, that's a 3-star match.
Yeah, I had it already marked down for 3 stars. I wrestled back and forth with how the ending was going to affect what I give it. But in the end, I was able to set that aside. Like I said, it was a great match. I enjoyed the time they were in the ring. The in-ring performance was great, so I give it a 3-star rating.
So, folks, the next match that we're going to move on to was one of our special attraction matches for the evening. And it was Colby Corino defending the VCW Commonwealth Championship against the franchise Shane Douglas. So not someone that we get to see all the time, but it was an opportunity to see, a former superstar from ECW performing. So it's again, it was a rare treat, and as always with any of these matches, you run into the challenge of how does a guy that has, for all intensive purposes, been retired, who still wants to get in the ring and go, and do it with a rookie who, even though Shane Douglas is not, a statue of a man, he's still twice the size of Colby Corino. I mean, you're twice the size of Smokey Z, who's sitting 2 feet from you. So, when that type of environment gets created, it makes you wonder. And folks, if you weren't there, there's certainly an opportunity for you to relish in the moment that you get to see the franchise Shane Douglas, who cut a true Shane Douglas promo before the match started. And almost
fire.
An almost uncomfortable promo, if I'm honest and 100% transparent, with there being kids in the audience surrounding the ring. It was an almost uncomfortable promo.
It takes a lot to drop our jaws on the table.
Yeah.
And I maybe 1 minute into that promo, maybe 30 seconds that I don't really know, my jaw dropped and I was caught off guard.
Yeah. But so folks, and I've wrestled with this over the past several days of really thinking about this, and the conclusion that I came to is that there really should not have been anything expected less out of Shane Douglas.
That's a fact.
This guy is known for his ability to go out there and cut a shoot promo. In fact, I don't know that he knows how to do anything other than cut a shoot promo and speak whatever it is that's running through his mind. So kudos to him for maintaining that character. And I think he delivered on exactly what VCW brought him in there to do, which was, he sold himself as the arch rival of anybody that was in that building. And so Colby Corino came out, instantly a face regardless. I mean, he could have been the most hated guy on the roster, but he would have been a face. He wouldn't have been
right then and there.
Right. He would have been a face in that match. Now, let's move past that and talk about the match. So, folks, if you had the opportunity to be there and watch this match, again, you relish in the moment that you get to see the franchise Shane Douglas in action from bell to bell, but there was not a lot of action. And the person that I want to talk about for this match is Colby Corino.
Yes.
So everything that happened in that match, Colby carried. Everything that transpired, he carried. And
without a doubt,
there is a ton of credit due to him for being able to carry that match. I respect him for doing it. I respect Shane Douglas for still being able to get in the ring and give another up-and-coming wrestler the opportunity to put that person over, because that's really what he did in this match.
Sure.
And, there's a gratitude for him. That there's a lot of folks in the business that have not learned how to do that yet for a variety of reasons. But in this particular case, and I know that some of this is going to be controversial because there's going to be folks that are very passionate about folks like Shane coming back into the ring.
Sure.
And guys, I get that. I'm a fan, just like, everybody else that's watching this, and even, performers. They're fans in their own right. And as a fan, I was really happy with Colby Corino, but I was disappointed in Shane Douglas. And especially after he cut the promo that he did of being the best in the world at what he does, and then he gets in the ring and he just didn't deliver on it. So, but to keep, in line with our mission, I do want to focus on Colby and his ability to carry that match and really focus on what he was able to do, and the spots that were created allowed for the match to still be entertaining.
Right. I mean, Colby was put in some really precarious spots throughout that match.
Yes.
You talked about the size difference, and obviously there was a huge age gap.
Yep.
And where, again, not trying to tear down Shane Douglas, but just from pure years of wear and tear on his body, age, probably not hitting the gym as much as he used to, just not being able to keep up with the speed, the youth, and the athleticism of a Colby Corino. So Colby carrying this match was because he had to. Again, he was just put in some really, really precarious spots.
Yeah.
And, what came out of it was a testament to his ability in the ring and his ability to be, a top-notch performer in a not-so top-notch position, I guess is what I should say.
Yeah. I don't want anybody to take away from this that this part of the show was not entertaining. It was.
Sure.
It was absolutely entertaining. It just wasn't quite what I expected. But again, I don't know that it's really fair for me to expect anything. I haven't seen Shane Douglas in a ring in probably more than 10 years.
Well, I think the expectations that we have for him are a testament to him.
Sure.
And what he built.
That's fair.
I think the expectations that come are fair. Yes, we haven't seen him in a while. We haven't laid our eyes on him in a while. But I think the expectations that are coming are for everything that he has built for himself through his career, and the expectations are of his legacy.
Okay, that's fair.
He came out that night, and he literally set that crowd on fire.
Yeah.
With that promo.
Yeah.
And I didn't know exactly what was coming.
Well, I don't think any of us expected what was coming.
Nobody. Yeah. Like I said, it takes a lot for anybody sitting at this table
yes.
or in this room, Smokey Z included, for us to drop our jaw and not quite know what's going on. But after that promo, then my expectations went higher.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, he's got a lot of gas left in the tank. He's going to get in there and he's going to go. And it just wasn't the case. He got in and he gave a performance. Again, was it a performance of a Shane Douglas of old? No. But nonetheless, he got in there and gave us what he had.
Yeah.
And like I said, it gave Colby Corino a chance to shine, and that's exactly what that kid did.
Yeah. And so, my message to Shane Douglas, if he were to decide to listen to the show, would be thanks.
Yes.
You showed us what it still means to be able to cut a shoot promo, and the point of the promo was to cause controversy. That's what Shane Douglas has always done.
And we don't get those ever anymore.
No. So, it caught me off guard that night, but the more and more I thought about it, and even today as I'm talking through this, he truly did deliver in true Shane Douglas fashion. I mean, he was the franchise. He owned his legacy with that promo.
Yes.
Regardless of the in-ring work, we can't expect the same thing. Anybody who's watched the big leagues and seen The Undertaker, the one we get now is not as good as the one that was around 10 years ago.
Well, I mean, you don't, unfortunately, we all get older. You don't get to perform at 1,000% for your entire life.
No, and
age is going to take over at some
that's
point.
Mother Nature.
Right.
And so, I still take my hat off to him for the fact that he's still willing to get in there and put a younger talent over. Because he didn't have to take that route. He could have signed the booking and said, you know what, you're going to put me over or else I'm not going to do your show. And he didn't do that. No. And so kudos to him for being able to do that. I'm going to give this match 2 different ratings. I'm going to give it a rating for the overall entertainment value of the match. And then I'm going to give it a rating if I were to rate it against the rest of the matches on this card as a fair, constructive rating.
Okay.
So the entertainment value based off of Colby Corino's ability and just the speed that he moves at within the ring, because he's very acrobatic as he moves around, I'm going to give him 3 stars for his performance.
Okay, I can get on board with that.
I'm going to give the overall match in comparison to the rest of the card 2 stars. Because I don't think it delivered quite what I was expecting it to deliver on.
Sure.
But that was based off of the precedent that Shane Douglas set with his promo before the bell rang.
Yeah, I can't disagree with what you said there. On my sheet over here, I've got the overall match, again, like you said, comparing it to every other match that we saw that night. I've rated it as a 2. But if I were going to split it and give it 2 ratings as you did, I would have to agree and, go 3 and 2.
Okay. So the final match of the night, there was a brief intermission between these two. And the final match of the night was the triple threat match for the VCW Heavyweight Championship. And folks, this match was a treat. This was Gino versus Brandon Scott versus Gangrel, the Vampire Warrior, for the VCW Heavyweight Championship. And these guys put on a hell of a final match as a main event for this card.
Yes.
We had the opportunity to meet Gangrel. Of course, there's the group photo with the Through the Curtain team that got posted on Facebook. He owns his own wrestling school. And the guy can still go.
Yeah.
I mean, the way he moved in that ring, taking the bumps, moving at full speed, falling flat on his back, popping right back up. I mean, the same Gangrel that we saw 10 years ago. Of course, as you said, age gets to us all. Mm-hmm. And so you could tell there was some of that. He got winded a little faster.
Sure.
But he could still move.
Yeah. Those bumps he was taking, going from standing to down was so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, it was impressive.
Yeah, I was completely floored with his ability to, again, sell and still what a hell of a job he did on putting those 2 guys over. At the end of this match, we got to see Gino win the VCW Heavyweight Championship. We talked about him for the review for the last show that we did. Mm-hmm. We gave him and Brandon Scott were our at the time we were doing Performers of the Night.
Right.
And we gave them a lot of credit. So I'm thrilled to see that belt on Gino. And I think everything that some of when I saw the Shane Douglas match, my expectations came down a little bit. Mm-hmm. because those two guys were not very far apart in age. But then to see Gangrel get in there and then move the way he did.
And flat out go.
Yeah, I mean, guys, this was not a slow-paced match. This was something that was high speed. You know, the promoting group, the guys that do the booking and the promoting for VCW, way to go. I mean, that was just spectacular. Between that and the Phil Brown Damien Wayne match that was on this card, the two tag team matches, I mean, this card was stacked with great performances from everybody, and they capped it off with a new heavyweight champion in a match that was action-packed, non-stop, with high-impact moves from every aspect, whether it was from the turnbuckle or the middle of the ring. Between those three guys, Brandon Scott, Gino, and Gangrel, none of them had to carry anyone through the match. They carried their own weight, and each of them is worthy of wearing that gold.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, just basing it off the first time we saw Gino and Brandon Scott go head-to-head, that match was extremely exciting. That was the best match for me on that card that we saw the first time. Here again, those guys involved with Gangrel, for me, just they were the main event. They were supposed to be the show stealers, and they did it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they did it. They came out and delivered on everything you want to see in any championship match.
Yeah, it was all inclusive of the high impact moves, the finishing spots. I mean, just everything. Even it was cool just to see Gangrel come out and do the spewing of the blood at the end of the match.
Yeah, I almost tripped over 3 different people trying to get to an angle to see that, because I've never seen it in person. So I 100% became a 15-year-old fan again.
Yeah.
When I saw him stop and turn around on the steps, I literally crawled over one of our friends that was next to us, and then tripped over 2 more just to get the angle to see him spit, the blood into the air.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to go right out here and tell you that for the, I believe this is going to be the first time in the history of our show, I'm going to give this match 5 stars for being an instant classic for VCW.
Yeah, absolutely. And if that's the first time that you've given one, this is going to be the first time that we've both given one. I can't think of a spot in that match that I didn't like. I can't think of anything about this match that I did not like. And it ended with Gino walking away with his first heavyweight title.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it had everything you want.
Yeah, 2 5-star ratings from myself and Double K for the main event of Gino versus Brandon Scott versus Gangrel for the VCW Heavyweight Championship. Hats off to those 3 guys.
Well done, guys.
Hats off to the VCW crew. Now, at the end of this match, we got to see Gino get interrupted. And if you've had the opportunity to listen to our on-location episode, you can see, or you can hear, rather, the real-time reactions from myself and Double K as Damien Wayne came to the ring and just laid out Gino.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a massive. Well, first, I mean, he come out and he put the title
on
Gino. He put the title around, shook the hand, gave the kid a hug. Yeah, everything's nice. We're all good. And then coming, from the parking lot is where that clothesline came from.
Yeah.
It just took his head off.
Yeah, and that situation escalated. I'm not going to cover a lot of it here because if you want to know what that looked like, go back and listen to our show from the on-location episode. The last 4 or 5 minutes is where we covered that. Again, great conclusion. You could see that Damien Wayne made his heel turn there, and it was definitely clear and evident. He even kicked the crutch, or the cane rather, out from underneath the commissioner for VCW. And he fell to the ground, who also happens to be a graduate of Hampton High School. And I believe, he's not a graduate of Hampton High School. He's a former administrator for Hampton High School. So, that added to it. VCW clearly has the ability to do the booking and the creativeness to create these storylines to really build these characters up. So I was super excited to see the way that ended. You can hear, again, the real-time reactions from myself and Double K in our on-location episode. So, folks, with the last few minutes here in our broadcast, I want to talk about our next-level performer and our up-and-coming performer. So, the next-level performer for me, based off of both his in-ring and the follow-up behind the main event, is Damien Wayne.
Yeah, no doubt. I've got Damien Wayne there, too. Folks are going to get a chance to hear the interview between us and Damien. And, I told him this during that interview. I could have sat there for another 45 minutes and just listened to what he had to say.
Yep.
This interview coming out, and again, Livid's interview, too. They couldn't be any more different interviews, but if you want to know something about Damien Wayne from all we've said tonight, listen to that interview and you're going to know a lot.
Yep. So, folks, our next level performer of the night is Damien Wayne. So, now that we've had our next level performer, let's briefly cover our up-and-coming performer. We've only got a couple of minutes here left in the broadcast. So our up-and-coming performer is Colby Corino, based off of how he carried the match with Shane Douglas.
I mean, that's a great choice, great selection. Mine is going to be the Latin heartthrob, Gino.
Okay, all right. I like it when we don't agree on everything.
Absolutely, that's normal.
Right.
For us. That's normal. But this kid's been training and wrestling and performing and busting his ass for 3 years.
Yeah.
This is his first title. After 3 years, he's finally made it to the top. So
he'll stay there for a while.
I think so too. I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. He's my up and coming performer. Gino, congratulations.
So, folks, there are your up and coming performers from myself and Double K, Colby Corino, and Gino. So, now that we've talked about this entire show, folks, VCW did this show to benefit Hampton High School, hence its location. I love it when these promotions do these kinds of events. The next opportunity we're going to get to see VCW, which we're going to be doing another on-location episode, is going to be on April 13th at the Salvation Army Community Center in Suffolk, Virginia, where Ron Simmons will be present for VCW show there, and we're going to see the main event of the Pope Elijah Burke versus none other than Damien Wayne.
It's not going to get any more exciting than that.
No, I think that match has... I mean, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it right now. VCW knows how to build a card. They know how to promote. They've got the ability and the resources to have these shows that create an environment and an atmosphere that just allows the fans to be entertained and for them to enjoy the product. So, folks, that's going to wrap up our review of VCW show from Hampton High School in Hampton, Virginia, that took place on March 9th, 2019. We appreciate you taking the time to listen. As always, it's Tommy T,
Double K,
Smokey Z behind the scenes, and we will see you folks the next time the bell tolls.